The Sheppard case raises the question of how we address imperfect self-defense. So the notion of imperfect self-defense is this, that you believe that you have to attack someone to save your life, that you have to wound them or kill them because your life or someone else's is in jeopardy, or there's a risk that you or someone else will be seriously bodily injured. And so in the Sheppard case, what we're looking at is a question about imperfect self-defense. When you think that's true, when you believe that your life or someone else's is in danger, but you're wrong. So in that circumstance, there is one form of voluntary manslaughter where your belief is wrong, but if it were correct, you would have had the right to use self-defense. So we're punishing you not for killing, but for incorrectly perceiving the situation and acting on it. So acting to save yourself or others inappropriately, that you misperceive the situation. So the question then in Sheppard is a question of what do we mean by this imperfect self-defense? At what point do we get to claim that? And can a person's psychological background be part of that analysis? The majority says no, it can't. That this would open the floodgates to too many people being able to make this claim. And the dissent, I think, makes a quite compelling argument to the contrary. That the majority is saying that the only way this works is if, in an objective sense, a person believed something and it was wrong. So, let's say someone's banging at my door and I believe that someone's out there with a gun. I look through the peephole and I see them holding something and like aiming in at the door, and it turns out to be a repairman with a pipe. And I shoot through the door and kill the person. The majority says that, my reasonable mind's misconstruing of the data before me is the only circumstance in which we could use imperfect self-defense. The dissent says, oh, no, it's broader than that. That if because of your mental state, because of your psychological disorder, that you construe things in improperly, then that's something the jury needs to hear and should consider as relevant to determining whether your belief that you needed to act in a way to protect yourself or others is appropriate. So the key takeaway from this, though, is that one form of voluntary manslaughter is you're acting inappropriately to protect yourself. That if you intentionally take another person's life, but you do so believing it's necessary to save your own, but your belief is unreasonable, then we believe you're not in the category of the worst of the bad, and we put you into the category of folks who have acted in response to provocation. Here, the provocation was not that you became angry. The provocation was that you came to believe you needed to defend yourself. And if you did, then that would be a complete defense. That if you believed you needed to kill another person to save your own life from that person, then that would be a justifiable killing. But when you inappropriately, incorrectly, unreasonably conclude that you have to kill another person to save your own life or others, then much like with provocation, we say, look, you shouldn't have done this. You should have acted better. You should have gotten this right. But we recognize that you're not in this category of the worst killers, and we lump you in with folks who have been provoked to anger. That there's a similar degree of culpability in the eyes of the law. So there are two ways then to show voluntary manslaughter. Both involve intentional killings. One is provocation, that's reasonable, and the other is your unreasonable belief that you need to defend yourself against another person.